CVA's AccuraSeries, Bagara barrels for guaranteed accuracy, nitride for guaranteed rust proofing, and a rifle guaranteed to be the best muzzleloader you've ever shot. CVA, it's just a better gun.
All right, guys, this next segment's being sponsored by our friends over at Soul Shine Pizza. They're at 4021 Hughes Crossing, Suite 101, over in Franklin, Tennessee. Y'all give my buddy Steve Brandon a call at 615-379-7767. They can take care of all your catering needs. They've got lunch specials Monday through Friday. Go down there and tell Steve thank you for all he does for us here at the show. All right, welcome back to the studio. If you guys want to call in tonight, you can do that now. It's 615-737-7767. And again, we got our buddy Bob Brandt in the house tonight, and we've got Kobe and Cash down here on the end. So you guys ready to start talking a little bit? Now, y'all got to have it pretty easy tonight, but we got some questions. All right, so let's get started. No, seriously, tell me this, guys, because we didn't talk about it much on the video. Either one of you, let's say Kobe, tell me what kind of bait were you guys using that day with Mike and them out there on the boat, and how were you rigging it? What were you using?
We were using some shrimp.
Okay, live shrimp.
Live shrimp from Campo's Marina, actually. And how you hook them, basically, there's this little black spot right behind the head and the guts. You're gonna hook it a little bit right under that.
Okay, and that'll keep them on there. Keep them on there, because a lot of times they'll come up and grab it, you know, and they see it's kind of like a cricket. If it's not on there right, they'll pull it right off.
Sure.
So that's a big deal. But those live shrimp, Bob, you can't hardly beat a live shrimp. It don't seem down there. I mean,
everything
in that water. Eats, yeah, even you. If nothing else, you can always grill some shrimp for lunch if you haven't caught any redfish, right?
Everything.
So, no doubt about that. Well, all right, Cash, you tell me this. When we're out there fishing, what kind of depths of water? Do you know much about the depths of water that you're in? Are you in pretty shallow water, or are you in deeper water?
That depends on where you are, because, I mean, you have deep sea. If you're going out there, it's probably, you're going to be reeling 100
well, that's a whole different thing there. You're over 100 foot deep.
The redfish, though.
And redfish, we probably go to big sand beds, oyster beds, stuff like that. And that's where they nest. So if you go there and figure out where they are, then yeah, you can get some pretty big ones.
Now, that's some good information there. That's what I like to hear. So you're looking for them to be on sand beds, I guess a flatter bottom like that. Bob, is it a particular, are they in there for particular food or something like that? What makes them group up in those areas? Because I've noticed being in there with you,
they're
that's
just like any other fish. They're going to wait. They want to sit somewhere where the tide or the water is going to bring the bait to them. So they're just lazy, like any other fish.
Yeah.
They're going to sit there. So if you find a point or anything where that water's running through and running bait through, 9 times out of 10 they're going to be there.
A lot of times there too in those grass breaks, you know, same thing. But we got a few calls here. What line are we on here? Okay, sorry guys, we got a few. I want to make sure I was right. Dewey, how are you doing tonight?
Pretty good. How about yourself?
Doing great. We appreciate you calling.
Well, I told a young lady, a friend of mine told me that y'all had a crappie guide on there 2 weeks ago from Sardis, Mississippi. And I was wanting to talk to him and get maybe get a guided trip with him, but I was wanting to talk to him about his GPS and everything too that he was using, the Panoptics.
Absolutely. His name is Jesse Brooks, and he is with Bowed Up Guide Service. Now, I don't have his number right here in front of me, but again, it's Jesse Brooks with Bowed Up Guide Service, and I believe he does Sardis and a couple other lakes in that area.
A few lakes in that area.
Spell the first one, the first part of the guide service.
Bowed Up. So it's actually B-O-W with an apostrophe and then a D is the way his business's name is.
Bowed Up.
Yep.
Okay, Bowed Up Guide Service.
Yep.
All right, I can probably find it then. Sure, thank you for your time, and I've watched your show. It's the first night watching. I've enjoyed it.
Well, I appreciate it very much. We appreciate you watching and hope you continue to. Have a great night.
All right, you too, sir. Thank you.
You too.
Yep.
Who do I have here? Robert, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing all right. How about yourself?
Doing great. We appreciate you calling. How can we help you tonight?
Well, I've been trying to get in touch with y'all to ask a question. I'm an avid angler, mostly greenfish.
Okay.
I've always had the question I want to ask is, why is it that some folks like to use bait casters or spinning reels, and what would be the reason for either one? I'm partial to the spinning reels.
Okay, I'll let Dayton take most of that. He's going to be the president. I'll tell you, I will throw this in real fast. I am more of a spinning reel person myself, but for me it's because of the type of baits I fish. I'm a finesse fisherman. I'm usually using a smaller bait, and I'm trying to put it in a smaller, tighter area, whereas Dayton is more, he's usually throwing crankbaits, things like that, covering water, and a lot of it boils down to the bait you're going to use and the sizes of them. But Dayton, you can elaborate a lot more on that.
So you can throw a shad wrap on a spinning reel with 6-pound test line, or you can throw a shad wrap on a bait caster with 8 and 12-pound test line, depending on your skill level. So a lot of people don't like bait casters because they backlash them. Well, you have to set a bait caster per bait. You can't take a bait caster and take a buzz bait or a spinner bait off
switch them out
and switch a bait off and throw it exactly. You have to have a bait caster per lure, basically, where you can get away with a spinning reel throwing a crappie jig or rooster tail, whatever you want. When it comes to bait casters, you really just can't take one and take a shad wrap rod and throw a buzz bait on it. And you can't throw a shad wrap on a buzz bait rod. It's all a breakdown of what bait you're throwing, whether it be a crankbait. You can't really throw a crankbait on a flipping stick. You want a medium
the way
light.
it's spined.
The way it's spined and the way the line is. It's all based on the line.
Yeah.
The bigger the bait caster, the bigger the line will be, like throwing a rat or a buzz bait. And then you break down to a smaller a smaller bait caster for your crankbaits or a Texas worm.
Yeah.
And it's the same way with a spinning reel. You can go up to 17-pound test line on a spinning reel, but the line has such memory, whether you use braid or not on a spinning reel, it's just really hard. Captain Bob can tell you that. The bigger the line on a spinning reel, the less. Go with it, Bob. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. That, and of course, a lot of y'all fishing monofilament, and I fish braid.
Yeah.
And I fish one particular brand of braid only because it don't have the memory, and it's a whole lot better than the rest. It's
so
more
it's really but I mean, it's really the person and the technique. I mean,
it is what you're most comfortable with. Is the deal. But that is the biggest reason why. I guess if you wanted to put it in the smallest, that we could, it would be the difference in baits and weights. What you're after.
Real quick, I have a rod for a buzz bait. I have one rod for a spinner bait. I have one rod for a jig. I have one rod for a crankbait. I don't ever put my buzz bait on my crankbait rod. I don't ever put my jig on my crankbait rod. I don't put a crankbait on my flipping rod.
Right.
Exactly. You got me? So
right. Yeah.
That's why people have so many rods. You never change the bait. You just change your tactic.
The type of bait.
Right.
Yeah, you might change the type of crankbait you have on it or something.
Don't just
and that just touches part of it.
Yeah, that's just that's just the age of it.
That's chapter one.
That's chapter one of the age of it.
But that's a great question.
Yeah, it's great.
We appreciate you calling in.
That's a lot of people ask me a lot why I use them type of reels.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, it's all in what you prefer.
I'm comfortable with them. I can pitch, I can flip, I can do everything versatile with them.
That's right.
But they're like, why you don't use bait casters on it? Well, like you said, for one reason, the backlash. And I just wanted to get some people's opinion. I appreciate the show, and y'all keep on doing what you do.
Yeah,
thank you very much.
Have a great night. Yeah, I mean, that's a good one.
That's the purpose of, that's why you have so many outfits. That's why you have spinning and bait casting, because you might go to Priest and can catch more fish on a shaky head versus going to Old Hickory and flipping with a flipping stick or throwing a spinner bait.
Yeah.
And just like Captain Bob,
we can't hand customers bait casters.
No, if you started that, Cindy would be mad at you, man. You start using those.
She already unties enough knots.
And that's not to say you can't mess up a spinning rig. You can. I found a way to.
And a bait caster, I've been fishing my whole life. I backlash all the time. You're going to backlash. There's not a person that does not backlash a bait caster.
Professional overrun.
That's right, overrun.
Professional overrun.
But you go around a point and be throwing that light bait on a bait caster, and you get some wind, you throw it, and it's just backlashed. so you can just cut it off and put new line. But
they're starting to fix some of that though, ain't they?
Yeah,
like
the
the
weights.
Tatula, that new Tatula,
I believe the Corrado might be one of them too.
Yeah, they're starting to fix
But
that.
the major deal of it is knowing that this rod is for this bait or two, and this rod is for only 1 or 2 baits, and this rod's for only 1 or 2 baits.
Yeah.
That's when you walk up to a boat and they're like, I don't know why they got so many rods. Well, they don't have to change their lure or reset their drags or do anything. It's ready. It's set.
Yeah. And you know, that'd make a good one night. We may take a segment or two and we'll talk about some different stiffnesses, lengths, you know, why you use a crankbait on this rod versus a jig on this rod, so forth. Yeah, that's right. You could. You really could. Yeah. So I know a guy with a bait shop that could do a good video series on that. We'll see if we can work on that.
He's probably got 2 or 3 poles in there.
I bet he's got 200 or 300. Either one way or the other, right? Well, guys, we're going to get ready to take another quick break. We'll be right back with some more Southern Woods and Waters.